Welcome back to the ZINDERING podcast, episode 2.
ZINDERING.
My name is Guy Livingston, and we're at the ZINDERING Festival in Mechelen. And this is a podcast about de klank van stilte, the sound of silence. Today's theme is really a question. How loud is silence? Wait, does that make any sense? Silence is quiet, right? It's not loud. How could silence be loud? But that's the paradox that I want to look at today. Because I think sometimes silence is really louder than we think. We're listening to a live show by the Golnar and Mahan trio. Here's percussionist Amir Wahba talking about the performance.
It was a very nice audience and place, and I mean, especially in these times, we even were not sure if this concert will happen. We were always checking. In the end, it happened.
Of course, we know the concept of deafening silence. Usually, that's a dramatic silence after something extremely loud. But it makes the silence itself seem loud. Here's a story. Did you know that the Russian composer Alfred Schnittke, who, by the way, he wrote extremely loud music. So, he, on his gravestone, there's a rest engraved on his gravestone, which means silence. But underneath the rest is written triple forte, fortissimo. That's one hell of a loud rest. So, can we tell the difference between that and a normal rest, or one that's, let's say, pianissimo? Do they sound different?
My name is Amir Wahba. I'm the percussionist of the band, and I live in Vienna. I mean, I think we brought power, but we also brought silence in between. I think power comes from silence and loudness or power, so I think we try to balance this. I enjoy listening a lot, and I think in the whole band this part, the part of listening is a big part, and that's why also we enjoy playing so much together, because we feel like from all sides there is listening, and I think that's the connection to silence, because without listening there is no silence, because there would be only noise. So I think that's the connection.
Let's imagine that a silence itself could be loud. What would it sound like? How would you know that it was silence? Let's hear what some of the festival audience thought about silence.
There's the feeling of calm when the baby next door isn't making noise. So I can't hear the baby, but I also feel calm. So it's both. No, the world is quite literally a very loud place, so we could stand to have a bit more quiet.
It was awesome. She was so powerful, so energetic, and everyone was feeling it. Everyone was in a great mood. I loved it. I think this is a paradox of two Persian women being silent and being loud all together. So she was showing it to us.
When she was doing the very high sounds,
Yes.
the typical la 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 la,
Yeah.
that's I like a lot.
I'm Astrid, and I absolutely enjoyed the concert. I had goosebumps throughout. I was mostly blown away by the voice of the singer, because she could hit those high notes. It almost sounded ethereal. It was beautiful. Silence to me is finding calm, finding inner peace, and just being swept up in emotions like this concert.
Here's Felix. He's 9 years old.
Ik ben 9 jaar. Felix. Zo daarover. Ik weet ook niet alles.
What he's saying is, I don't understand everything. Silence is calm, with no one to disturb you. It's coziness.
En gezelligheid.
I can sometimes be really wild, but then actually, I'd like total stillness.
Daarna wil ik wel totaal stilte horen.
We're listening to Squaring the Circle by Heleen van Haegenborgh. This performance involved a dizzying array of instruments played by 4 intrepid percussionists. Or maybe silence is just imaginary. If you talk to a scientist or an acoustician, they'll tell you that there's no such thing as silence. If you talk to John Cage, he'll say the same thing. Even though you might think you get close to silence, in the end there's always noise. It could be the noise of atoms moving around. It could be the noise of your own body making sounds. So is silence just imaginary?
Sure, and that's now we are in this weird situation where there is semi-lockdown and where we can only imagine dancing. So it should happen in between the ears and try to enjoy an image of dancing. Yes.
Of course, in silence you get more into your thoughts and you start to see, smell and hear things which certainly in the rush of time we got now is most of the time it doesn't exist.
So one thing you can hear is the difference between audience reactions and performer reactions. For the performer, silence is more like a kind of a pragmatic building block. They see that as an essential ingredient of music. And for the audience, silence is more often something you imagine, something that you would hope for or wish for, or something you would experience walking through a forest, something you'd experience in a dream. We're listening to Bakunawa by Pak Yan Lao, music about taming a dragon.
Bakunawa means dragon. It's a special kind of dragon in the Philippines. And it's a dragon you can only tame in 2 ways, or be very, very silent, or be very loud. and that's what the starting point was for the piece by Pak Yan Lao. And then first getting you into this very special mood with this metal sounds played by bows. So you get in a very special kind of atmosphere, and then with the gongs and the bells and the toy pianos, you go to the skies together with the dragon. On the ceiling there were gongs or bells taken from clocks. So that have very special sound, and with toy pianos then also.
I'm Rana. Silent. What is silent for me is the most powerful music. That's, I think, everyone is able to play it. It's not very easy for so many people, maybe, I don't know. But I think it's only if you have experience of silence, you can find yourself.
So it seems to me that the paradox of loud silence, or noisy silence, is actually not such a paradox. It's more a question of our imagination. How do we feel the silence, fantasize the silence, taste the silence, which is within us? For now, I'll say goodbye. You've been listening to Zindering, a podcast about music, silence, and stillness. Today's episode was How Loud is Silence? We heard live concerts by the Golnar Mahan Trio, Squaring the Circle by Heleen van Haegenborgh, and Bakunawa by Pak Jan Lau. The festival was directed by Jelle Dirks and took place in Mechelen from December 9th to 13th, 2021. It was a full weekend of rain, snow, cold, and both loud and quiet music. This podcast was produced by myself, Guy Livingston, with special thanks to Aletta Becker and Colette Kinsella. Interviews by Avita Nocent, Debbie de Ridder, Annika Butz, Ans de Bremme, and Peter van Petegem. Tune in next week for an episode on unheard voices and silencing.
Zindering.
Zindering.